It's me again. My name is Teacher Hanani from Kiddo Science, and today we want to learn about mold. So now you know that everywhere around us, including in the air that we breathe in, there are many other microorganisms, fungi, and its spores. But what are spores? Spores are most commonly produced by fungi like mushroom, yeast, and mold. The fungi will produce spores as a way to propagate. The spores on fungi will be spread around and float in the air until it lands on something that can supply nutrient for the mold to grow, like a bread. The fungi species that grow on bread is known as black bread mold or Rhizopus stolonifer. Once the spore of the black bread mold germinates, it will form a root-like structure called hyphae, and when it lands on something that can provide nutrients such as bread, it will form a series of roots called mycelium. When mature, the sporangium will open and release thousands of spores in the air, which will continue the cycle over and over again. You know where else the mold can grow? Mold can grow on many food items, such as bread. Mold can also grow on other foods such as tomatoes and on rice, which you eat every day. But why does sometimes some old food don't have mold growth on it? Well, because they have a few criteria for them to grow. Let's test this. Here I have a bag of bread. Let's take out 4 pieces of bread. We will put each bread in different location to see where will mold grow the most and the least. I will put each of these 4 breads into a plastic bag and then place them in these locations. First one will be placed on a kitchen counter, a normal place where you store your bread. Next one, in a cold and dry place, the refrigerator. Next, in a dark cabinet. And finally, in the direct sunlight. This is the result 1 week after the expiration date of the bread. You can see that some of the bread have mold growth and some do not have any mold growth. The breads that were placed in direct sunlight and in the refrigerator do not have any mold growth. In fact, when I touch this bread, they are very dry and very hard. For the bread that was placed on top of the kitchen counter, there is some mold growth at one corner of the bread. Here is a close-up image of the mold on the kitchen counter bread. However, the most amount of mold growth is found on the bread that was placed in a dark and humid kitchen cabinet. There are even a few types of mold found here. You can see here, this is the common black bread mold. And look, here's another mold that is yellow in color. And there's even a whole colony of mold over here. Here's a fun fact. The mycelium of the mold is not clearly visible to our eyes. When you see a small mold growth on a bread, you should not eat the whole bread, even on parts where you cannot see any mold, because the mycelium or the network of the mold root might already be there, but you just cannot see it. If you eat that bread, you might get sick. Here's another fun fact for you. Have you ever taken an antibiotic called penicillin? Well, in 1928, a professor in bacteriology found that A mold called Penicillium notatum has an active ingredient, penicillin, that can kill harmful bacteria. So that is how penicillin was discovered, from a mold. But don't you worry. Although it's true that you breathe in a lot of spores, not all of them are harmful for you. If you are not allergic to spores, then your immune system can easily fight all of them off. However, there are some type of molds that are very harmful for you, such as the blood mold. So what have we learned here today? If you want your food to last longer, and if you don't want any type of mold growth on your food, you can store your food somewhere dry and cold. That way your food can last longer.